Cuba's president has accused Washington of inciting mass demonstrations across the country. That's after thousands took to the streets of the Caribbean nation to protest against an economic crisis that's been exacerbated by the COVID pandemic. The anti-government movement is being described as the country's biggest in 30 years. Well, let's take a look at some of the scenes from the epicenter of events. So what do the protesters want? Well, they've been calling for more freedoms, a faster vaccination program, and generally better handling of the pandemic. Last year was the hardest for Cuba in the last 3 decades, with the economy shrinking 11% as a result of US sanctions and, like I said, the pandemic. Washington said it condemned any violence towards peaceful protesters. But Cuba's president has called on supporters to go out and defend the country. While a local journalist sent us this report.
Demonstrations in support of the Cuban government are being held around the country. You can see national flags, portraits of the historical leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro, and slogans for him and President Miguel Diaz-Canel. These demonstrations, some large, others smaller, like this one, are taking place not only in Havana but in other parts of Cuba. The protests appear to have been organized on social media. President Diaz-Canel appeared to the country on television. Let's listen to an excerpt from his speech.
We are addressing revolutionaries who may have become entangled, addressing Cubans who may have some concerns, but we will not allow the opponents of the revolution, mercenaries who have sold out to the U.S. government, sold out to the empire, receiving money from subversive agencies to provoke destabilization. And there will be a response from the revolutionaries, and therefore we call upon all the revolutionaries of the country, all the communists, to come out in the places where these provocations are being carried out today and from now on.
It's noteworthy that American flags could be seen at some demonstrations against the government. Many said this was proof of the involvement of the US in organizing such actions. Many find it odd that even though the US is blockading Cuba, people are still waving American flags. Despite this, the marches in support of the government took place in different parts of the city. We spoke with several people who came out to defend the government and heard what they think about the protests.
Of course, improvements are needed, but we will do it in a different way, and we will not please the Americans. Imperialism wants nothing good for us. It won't be better if they triumph here.
Destabilized. They won't get it. They will never get it. This is the street of Fidel, Raul, and Diaz-Canel.
Since the start of the pandemic, Cuba has suffered from a serious crisis, not only in healthcare but also in economics. A lack of food and an energy crisis due to a breakdown of some power plants. All of this, according to analysts, has provided fertile ground for the groups, the people organizing protests against the government.